I'm good. I'm good. Just kind of calming down from a wild week.
Oh
How about
yeah.
you? How about
Door
yourself?
dashing, door dashing, door dashing.
Well, I did a little bit. I didn't. I made 20 bucks today in like a couple. I don't know, about an hour, if that. And
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling it, so I cut it off. I came home and passed out. I was
Well,
like,
there's days that's like that.
yeah, I just wasn't feeling it. You know.
I mean, if all you're gonna do is run your gas out, there's no sense in it.
Of course. I mean, I was just getting $2 and $3 orders. And a lot of times that's not really worth it, because
Oh yeah.
you go further than what the order pays, so it's not really worth it. So what's going on in Alabama?
Oh, let's see. Well, Marty had her back surgery, and so that immediately put an end to van life.
Okay.
Because
How's
they
she doing?
took 50. She's doing good. They took 50 something staples out of her back.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, they went from the hairline, like right there at the hairline, all the way down to probably the middle of her back. They took out two herniated discs. Her spine had compressed to 7 millimeters, and the normal is 16 to 18 millimeters.
Oh, wow. That sounds
And
painful.
so they had to go in. I say roto rooter because they had to go in and like clear all that out to where they spread them out. And she has one, two, three places that are fused together. I mean, she went through it. Let me tell you, one of them, they cut her neck open in the front, moved her esophagus over, moved her trach over, and went to the back. And I'm like, why the hell? I mean, it would just go from the back. I mean, so that
Well,
was the
isn't,
first one that they did.
isn't it true that whenever they go in there to unherniate a disc, it's almost like sticking a jack and kind of pumping it up to
Yeah, I call it
let it,
roto rootering.
yeah, let everything kind of flow back in.
Right, because I mean, but here's the thankful part. Is I mean, the diagnosis was ALS.
Oh,
ALS ain't no joke. You know, I mean, we were actually looking at maybe a year or 2 years of her living, you know.
mm,
And so with this surgery, I mean, she's got to go back, have more MRIs. It could still end up being ALS, but they started with the spine. And she's already walking on a cane now. She got to where she couldn't even turn over in bed. I mean, that's how paralyzed she was from the neck down.
that's awful. That is awful. It
Yeah,
sounds
and
sounds painful
so
also.
yeah, I mean, she was in excruciating pain. Imagine what it was doing to the ego. I mean,
Hmm.
all of a sudden now I'm having to turn her. I mean, when she got ready to turn over in bed, I would have to turn her. I mean, I'm helping urinate, helping poo, and she's like, I can't live like this. I cannot live like this.
Of course not.
And
Of
so
course
with
not.
the surgery now, she's actually walking on a cane.
That's great to hear. That
And
is.
and she had surgery 6 weeks ago.
Hmm. The will to live is amazing sometimes, you get that motivation. There's nothing that can
Oh
stop
yeah.
you. We're
I mean,
we're
she
built
she said
we're built to
she said
overcome.
she said the other day, we were talking about it, and it was like, I can't wait till I retire and I can sit in the recliner and do nothing. And she was like, changed my mind. I want to
Right.
run. I want to skip. I want to, you know, I don't want to just sit in a recliner because I mean, that's basically all she could do is just get to the chair and sit there. I mean, she went while I was out there and everything. She went from maybe having some difficulty in August to a cane, and by December she was on a walker. And so 6 weeks ago, we had the MRI done, and before we got from Birmingham to Coleman, which is 45 miles, they called and said, get back to UAB, it's critical.
Wow.
And her spine was compressing so much, it was compressed to a level that she was about to be completely paralyzed permanently.
Well, was she? I mean, did she have a car wreck or how? What caused?
No, no, what happened was back during the summer of last year, she kept telling me that her hands were numb. And then she would tell me, I can't get my shoes on. I don't know what's going on, And I thought, oh, well, whatever. I mean, you know
Yeah,
me. I mean, I can't see it, touch it, or feel it. It's like, okay, get over it, and that's wrong of
right.
me. And I admit that.
Of course.
But, and so then we went through our breakup and everything. And I mean, it was messing. I mean, come to find out, it was messing with her cognitive. It was messing with her behavior. It was messing with any of her mental health diagnosis and
Oh,
everything
of course.
because they were so compressed that she was getting like that lack of oxygen to the brain.
Of course. That's terrible.
And like I said, by August, she was just having difficulty, and they were totally leaning towards ALS. I mean, we were already prepared, and we had already known that ALS can take your life within like 2 years. And I know there's people that live years with it, but I think I sent you a message talking about the guy that played on Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah,
He
the
was
one that just
diagnosed
passed
last
away.
year. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
diagnosed last year and died this month.
yeah, yeah. That's terrible,
So,
man. Terrible.
I mean, it is all good. I mean, we got back together. I'm her caregiver, her partner, and something like that really, really makes you take note of the value of life.
Well, of course it does. I mean, I don't know what people view in their own mind or hearts or whatever, but you know what? Being able to walk, being able to breathe, being able to think clearly, all those things are a necessity in my book, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I've had
And
this
I mean,
cough. I've had this cough for like I guess a month and a half now, and it's barely getting better.
well, speaking of cough, anyway, in the
I'm
midst
just
of all of this, we just found out that her brother has stage 3 lung cancer.
oh man.
But the good thing about that is the doctor he's doing radiation 5 days a week, chemo 1 day a week, and the doctor says that that it's going to work, you know.
Right, right.
So there's blessings all around us.
Well, it sounds like it. Here's another public moment of advertisement. If you've heard of Mulene, it helps with the daily cleansing of your lungs. This is a pill, or you can get it in herbal teas with lemon, and it kind of cleans out your lungs. It's natural. This is 1,200 milligrams. You can get this on Amazon for I think about $20,
And it's
and it's a
called what?
Mulin,
Oh, okay.
Mulein,
Gotcha.
and it's pretty good for lung issues. I mean, I take it every night before bed, and I've noticed a difference as far as my coughing, the mucus production that it does, and everything like that. So, um, if you if you want to try that, you can get that on Amazon. Like I said, you can get that in herbal teas. Go to your local grocery store, look for mullein leaves, and boil them up, drink it in a tea. Good to go. I mean, it helps with the mucus and all that stuff. I'm really into the holistic healing part of of trying to do stuff. You know what I mean? Because I don't like taking a lot of medication. I don't know
Oh
about you.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, even with Marty going through those two back surgeries and everything, um, because that's what I was telling you was they went through the front first, and that was on a Friday, and then on Monday, they told her that she was going to have another one, which is going through the back,
Oh,
and so she ended up going through two back surgeries, and even at that, she was like, "Look, I'm a recovering addict. I don't want on a bunch of pills. I don't want to, I was a meth addict. I don't want to become a pill addict, you know."
right. And
And
that's easy
so
to
we,
do. That's easy to do for people, you know?
well, I do know that from the research I've done that a lot of people turn to heroin
Oh, yeah.
because they can't get the prescriptions.
That's so true. That is really true. You know, there's a lot of people suffering with health problems these days in America. And the unfortunate is there's a lot of people that don't have health insurance. They don't have a way to really pay for their health problems. And they do turn to the streets a lot of times.
Right, right.
You're right on
And
that.
I mean, that's the thing about Marty. I mean, her and her brother are it. Well, he's dealing with his lung cancer, so he can't be her caregiver.
Right, right.
And I mean, I'm not like patting myself on the back or anything, but she'll tell anybody if it wasn't for Kelly, I'd be screwed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, sometimes we're placed in people's lives for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing about it is, a lot of people, even, her friends, my friends, whoever, not talking about any one certain person, but a
Right.
lot of people don't understand when you break up and you get back together. Well, the thing about it is if you spend 18 years with somebody and then they go through a trauma like this, how do you just turn your back on them and say, hate it for you, you can just take care of yourself?
I don't believe you can, Nina. I don't believe that you can. I mean,
Exactly.
how could you? How could you?
I mean, there was no hesitation, no choice, no nothing. I spent 18 years with her, and there was no way I was going to let her go through ALS or even the back surgeries alone. And
Well,
I'm
you
not
know,
saying that's the reason we got back together or anything like that, but I mean, at that time, we were done with each other completely,
right.
you know, and but there's a time when you just say, okay, we're going to work this out together.
Well, you know, you do have that history together. You have all that time, all that investment. Because whether people realize it or not, you know, any time that you spend with anyone, whether it be friendships, whether it be, you know, neighbors, whatever it might be, any time spent with somebody, that is an investment.
Yeah,
Investment on
exactly.
time, investment on time, investment on, you know, watching their kids grow, whatever it might be. I mean, investing your time with anyone, you know, it builds trust, it builds, you know, those types of things with people. Sometimes you just can't walk away from that, no matter what you've been through, you know?
Right, exactly. And I have to admit, I mean, I hate to say it, I mean, but it's actually made us stronger together.
Yeah. So how long you been
It's
back to Alabama?
Oh, well, let's see. We got back to Alabama because what happened was when the van and everything broke down. I mean, when the car broke down and everything, and I got the van and all that. Then I guess I came back. Oh, let's see. She had surgery 6 weeks ago, probably January, because I had not been back in Alabama maybe 2 weeks before the surgery.
So did Alabama miss you?
Hell no. Look, you knew my mother died.
What?
My mom, yeah, my mother
Yeah,
died.
you told me that. You sent me a text that one day.
I've yet to cry,
What's
but
keeping what's keeping you from that?
I guess because I mean, I've read you the poem about her. I mean, you know how my mother felt about me and everything, and how I felt about my mother. I chased her love. I'm 56 years old, and I chased her love for 56 years. And so when I came back to Alabama, she was in bad shape, and I was going to go see her, and that's when all this came up with Marty. And so my priority was taking care of Marty. I mean, at
Right,
this time, I'm still disowned from my mother, not knowing why, but anyway, that's a different story. But
right.
so
So what type of advice would you give anybody who might be watching this later on or might be listening? What would you say as far as, working through those types of situations? Would you give them
okay,
any
here's the way. Here's it. The only thing I can tell you is my experience.
Well, of course.
Is every time my mother got mad at me, it was like she either loved me or she hated me. You know,
Okay.
I was either in her life or she didn't want anything to do with me. So last year, for the last time, we did that, and I was like, you know what? My conscience is clear because when David died, I promised myself that with anybody that I love or is in my life, I don't want those kind of regrets and that kind of guilt that I had with my son.
Right,
So
right,
when the in 2024 when Mama did that, I was like, you know what? My conscience is clear, my slate is clean, and it's on her now. You know,
right, right.
And I can honestly say that I mean, I have the regrets of, man, I wish it hadn't have been like that, but that's me chasing her love. You know,
Right.
I can't
You,
make somebody love me. I can only
you
allow
know,
them to love me.
that is insightful on your part. It really is. It really is
And
insightful.
so February the 15th, I messaged my brother and I said, hey, look, Marty's out of the hospital. She's safe. So I can go see mama if she wants to see me. So I reached out and he said, Kelly, this is the exact text I got.
Okay.
Kelly, comma, he even put the comma in there. Kelly, comma, mother died yesterday, period. That was the only sentence that was written to me. I was like, what? You know, so the next day on Facebook, he put a statement out on his Facebook, about mama dying and everything. And he said that she couldn't wait to get to heaven to see her husband, her sister, her best friend. Didn't even mention David, her grandson.
Right, right.
And I'm like, whoa, how are you going to just disregard that she's going to get to see David? That's her firstborn grandson. That's her firstborn grandchild and the only grandson, you know. And so that sort of perturbed me. And I was still undecided on going to the funeral and stuff. Well, then when the obituary came out, he put my name as my married name, not Stanfield.
Oh wow.
He gave me my married name. He put one of my granddaughter's last name of a last name that we've never heard of. It wasn't even nowhere near her last name. And still in the obituary does not even mention preceded in death, like by her husband or whatever, or by David. I mean, David was still totally disregarded. And so I struggled and I was like, if I go, I'm probably going to end up in jail.
Right. Right. That's understandable. I mean, but you know what? You know, you it sounds like you're a survivor through life issues, just like I've spoken on my channel, about some of the struggles that I've been through in my life, you know, it almost seems like one right after the other, you just kind of it falls off your armor. You know what I mean? Because for anybody that's watching right now that's ever been addicted, who's ever had any kind of vices that you've ever struggled with, if you've ever been able to manage to get free from that, life is the easy part. It
Well,
really is.
the thing about it, Gage, is you've heard me say a million times, and I know this is the way you look at it too. The drugs and the alcohol is not the problem. The problem is us.
Right, right.
We're looking for something that can either fill a void, mask the pain, or make us feel something that we're needing to feel, you know.
Did that
And
even cross your mind? Has that ever crossed your mind during all this madness that you've had that you call your life? I mean, have you had any moments where you say, you know what, F it, I'm gonna go get high?
you know, I stayed clean during David's death.
Okay.
Um, and I guess with Mother and with Scott, I mean, like I told my best friend when I told her about Mother, I said my incubator died. I mean, because I feel like that's what she was to me, was she just carried me for 9 months, and you know, and this is not like bad mouthing her or anything. There was just, we were like oil and water. I mean, we just
Right.
never jived.
I remember you sharing those stories. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, and so then you've got Scott. Sorry, shouldn't have said that. You've got my brother that is an electrical engineer. He retired from Redstone Arsenal Missile Intelligence. Then he went to another company and retired as their president of that company. He's in $1 million house. I mean, he's got like all the money. And it's like my brother's life was just straight through. But here's the difference is I may be the black sheep, but I've got the heart. Does that make sense?
Of course it
I may
does.
not have the money, and I may not have all my I's crossed and my I's dotted and my T's crossed, but I've got the
Your
heart.
eyes crossed. Oh, okay.
Yeah, my I's
You,
crossed.
sometimes people are hard on themselves, though. Our families, we didn't choose who we were gonna be put into.
Oh
We
my
were.
gosh, it's funny that you said that. I told Marty today, I said, I would a whole lot rather have my chosen family, because to me, my biological family are the acquaintances. I would rather choose
I
who's
mean,
in my family.
I've shared with the audience about the dysfunctional stuff I've gone through with my family.
Right,
Not all of it, but enough for people to understand. It's not always pretty. It's not always
right,
pretty. Sometimes you got to deal with stuff as it comes along, and we have to learn how to really communicate through the situation. We got to have somebody that we can talk to, and bounce ideas off of, have a support system, have some kind of person that will listen to us while we're not strong enough or clear enough in our minds to make the right rational decision.
right.
Because I'm
So,
sure it sounds like you haven't even grieved your your own way. I mean, you said that, you've kind of thought about it, but you haven't really gone through it.
but I don't see myself doing that, because I mean, I guess the thing about it was, I think I've always told you that I'm the type of person that when I'm done, I'm done.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if I'm done and I walk away from you, I don't ever look back. you know.
Right.
And I think that's one of the ways that I quit drugs was I was just done with it. I mean, I just broke up with it, you know.
Can you imagine if we were still the people that we were in our addiction? I didn't know you then, you didn't know me, but just think if we were still those hell-raising people being on the microphone right now, we'd be like all over the place, like, having a
Yeah,
bottle of liquor or something. It'd be like,
that could have been ugly.
they wouldn't be able to see you. You could be geeking your mouth going a million miles an hour. They wouldn't be able to know the difference. But me on camera, they'd be like, "Oh, there's something wrong with that dude. There's something wrong with him." You know?
But I think here's what there's two things that I learned in my recovery is we want everybody to eat, but we can choose who eats at our table.
Well, true. Very
And
true.
so I went a step further. If I don't want you at my table, I am moving the chair, bitch. You ain't even getting a chair to even think about it, you know. And number
Right.
two is Gage. We teach people how to treat us.
Well, that's a big statement right there. That's a huge statement because as simple as that statement is, a lot of people don't get what it means.
And I finally realized that,
Whatever you co-sign, whatever you accept,
yep,
people are creatures. People are creatures of habit, so they're gonna keep doing what they do, whether you enjoy it or not, because you've taught them how to interact with you.
and what you will accept and what you won't accept. And here's the thing about it is another step in that is we teach people how to treat us based on what we feel of ourselves.
Well, of course, of course. If you don't have a high
You
self,
know,
uh,
if I have such negative feelings about myself, then I deserve to be called those names. I deserve to be treated like that because I want somebody to treat me the way that I feel about myself. That way it validates it.
but I've always told people that's what needs to change right off the bat. In anything you do, if you don't have a reference point about how you feel about you, there's nothing in your world that's ever going to be good enough for you. Because if you're not good enough for you, how is anything in your world ever going to manifest itself to be all right for you to say, okay, well, I love my house, I love my car. It's not who I am, but I love the fact that I work hard for it. It always comes back to you. We put so much emphasis on everything around us. Sometimes we lose ourselves in the process.
Exactly. And see, that's the thing about it is the road trip and the van life and going out west, going to Idaho, Washington State. There was
Hmm.
so much time for me to concentrate on me. And I feel like I found me. And that's the thing about it is I don't need outside validation now. I'm enough to validate myself now.
Well, that's one of the reasons I changed the format of the channel because I feel that for a long time I was seeking validation through the true crime community.
Exactly. And that's what I was talking about with you the other night is that that's the reason I like this is because used to it was that okay, we're going to offend somebody or we're going to make somebody mad or somebody's not going to like it or we're going to say the wrong thing or we're going to show the wrong thing. Now,
Right.
and I'm not going to say I don't care what people think about me because I know that we always care what people think, but
Of course.
it does not validate me. I validate me.
Well, like I posted something earlier today, um, I've noticed that a lot of people piggyback, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular. So if you get offended by the statement, hey, own it. Um, I noticed a lot of people piggyback off other people's stuff.
Right.
And it's almost like watching the same thing in a continuum, like in a circle.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, okay, nobody will watch something original. Like we didn't rehearse this. This isn't scripted. This is coming
No.
from just us talking.
Right.
To the people that watch, to people that are replaying it, whatever, thank you so much. It's, thank you so much. I don't get on here to talk about or talk shit about people because I don't honestly care that much about the community to really give a one way or the other about what people think about me or the channel. Because I know there are a lot of people that watch, they just don't comment, they don't, you
Right.
know, to the chat,
Right.
and that's okay. I would hope that eventually they would let their pride go and say, it's almost like I'm the fat girl of YouTube. It's cool to talk. It's cool to talk to me behind the scenes. It's cool to interact. It's cool to email me. But if the popular kids see you with me, there goes your popularity.
Sort of
You
like
get what
being that mistress that you're the mistress that's hid away, huh?
I'm not even the mistress. I'm that person that it's cool to interact because I don't cause a lot of drama. But it's just you don't have enough confidence in yourself to be seen over here on this channel
Exactly.
because people must talk so much bad about it that you don't want to be associated with it, and that's sad. That's
Yeah.
sad because I
Yeah.
have had my moments. I'm not gonna act like I haven't done stuff to other people and talk crap about other people because I have. But at that point, behind the scenes, I was trying to tell those people to stop doing what they were doing regarding the
Right.
people coming to my channel, and being panel guests and stuff like that because I consider these people friends. The people that come into the channel and they're on the panel, I consider them very close to my channel. So if somebody gonna attack them, hey, I'm your friend. I'm gonna stand by you whether you're wrong, whether you're right, because I'm not one of those people that just because you do somebody else wrong, have you done me wrong?
Right.
How am I how am I gonna take somebody else's inventory like that?
And
But
that,
there are a lot of people like that.
but and I'll go right up with that as that's sort of how I felt about Arctic Fox. Was I was like, oh, I don't want to get on there and badmouth him until I
Mhm.
see the body cam, till I do my research, till I didn't want to just go on the hearsay or what the other people were saying or just to be part of the crowd. You know,
Right.
I had to base my own opinion based on what I know, what I saw, and how I feel about it. You know, and even though
I
it was
mean,
hard to do the other night, I
it's
felt that I
never
owed it
it's
to the
never easy.
community to do that.
It's never easy to do that. But you know what? There's still a lot of people that won't step to the forefront to be honest about their opinions about it. I've always been like this. I wasn't always like this when I was in my addiction, when I was, all that. It was all about secrecy. I would sit there and talk about certain things behind the scenes and never do anything about it to change the situation.
Right,
If I'm just talking to you behind the scenes about something, but yet never let the person know that I have a problem with them, I'm not addressing anything.
right.
We're just
And I
throwing
mean that's
mud.
the thing about it. If there's a problem, like you said the other night, are you part of the solution or part of the problem?
Right. I mean, because I always figure, after a while, you got to get to that point of reference. At least for me, I can't talk for everybody else. Maybe it takes other people longer to get to that understanding, whatever it might be. For me, I can't sit there and dwell on the problem. That's why I couldn't wait for the Idaho 4 case to kind of be over. By the time he pled, I was so grateful. Not because he pled, not because he was actually the killer, but because the case was coming to a conclusion, because I was burnt out on it.
And that's exactly how I felt about it too when he pled. I mean, as a matter of fact, when I messaged you tonight, I was like, look, I have missed so many documents and stuff because when I took that road trip to Idaho, it was not about Coburger. It was about the people left behind in Moscow, you know. And so that's where my focus went. And so when I asked you that question tonight, I was like, man, I don't think I've ever been so far behind on the documents and stuff that I didn't know where to go, because you know me, I used to say, you go to page 234 and
Right.
it's line blah, blah, blah. And I can't do that now because when he pled, it ended it for me.
Me too. Me too. I mean, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning or the middle of the week. I mean, that's just whatever. But whether it changes anybody's mind, whether it changes my mind, it doesn't change my mind.
Well,
Like
that's
that
like
short.
the stuff I shared with you tonight on Messenger. That's stuff that I was just interested in.
Right,
It
right.
wasn't trying to debunk anything or prove somebody wrong, or it was just
But
stuff that I had thought about.
it's sad that you can't even have that thought process without people attacking you. If you were to
Right.
bring that out, oh, automatically Nina's trying to prove that, he did it. No, Nina's trying to
Yeah,
show that,
but if you
look,
notice, it didn't have a head or anything. It was just saying this is what it could be.
right. And we had talked about that before. It's almost like having a roll of quarters in your hand. You hit somebody in the mouth, it's going to shatter their teeth.
Right.
That case bar is solid. That handle is solid. So
Well,
imagine
I
having,
did I did go back and I did find the research where it said that the impressions were striped.
yeah.
Well, if you look at the handle of the K bar,
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
right.
But, even the Nancy Guthrie case wasn't enough to make people forget Koberger. What about this case, very shortly? I know I was invested because I was going through the criminal justice part, learning about it, learning the procedures and everything like that. That's why I was so in depth on it. I mean, once they arrested Koberger, I was kind of like, okay, he's probably the one, he's probably the one. Even without anything but the evidence that they had given us at that point. But I haven't ever shifted. I've shared with my audiences about, well, these were my thoughts early on, but I found out on my own research, there's no way that could have happened. No way that could have been possible.
Right.
We've had hour-long discussions on my channel about
Hours.
everything, everything, every little bit, every document, I mean,
But see, Gage, that's what I've always respected about your channel, and that's what I've always tried to bring to my channel is the facts, the documents, the research, the psychology of it. Not it was for me. It was never about Coburger. It was never about guilt or innocence. It was about the research, the psychology of it, the how this could happen, the why it could happen. Because I'll be honest with you, there's only 5 people that know what happened that night, and unfortunately, 4 of them are dead.
right. So
Because
do you think that people
unless
have
you were there, you don't know.
do you think people have learned anything from that case? I mean, with all the investigative stuff that they've said they've done and looked at, if another case comes out, do you think that they've learned
No,
anything about
no,
the
because
process?
I think that this is my honest opinion of the Idaho 4 case. I think that and this is pro burgers and guilters, and I hate those terms, but we'll just put it out there like that. I
Right.
think on both sides that both sides are so committed to their narrative and how they feel about it, and some of them are so I want to be right. You know what I'm saying? That ego thing. That they can't back off. Like, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I share stuff, that could say, okay, well, let's look at this, or let's look at this. Just like, when I was talking about the other night that I got the GOAT award from that creator. That was because I shared something, that could say, okay, look, there could be other cameras that have not been shown.
But let me ask you something as well. I mean, you're a creator, you have your own channel. You know, after after you get to a point, because people are gonna burn out. I
Right,
mean, they're going strong right now because it hasn't even been a year since he pled.
right.
They're gonna burn out. You can only hear about something so many times. You can only reinvent it so many times. You know, do you believe eventually they're gonna be like, you know what? It's over. It's over.
No,
Because I know that there's other people such as Chaos Sector, Viviana, their numbers are starting to grow.
right,
There's people leaving the Chaos Sector daily because of their thought pattern about the crime.
right.
And people think that they've been infiltrated. They think that, people have, they think people have paid them off, blah, blah, blah. What's the
Okay, here's
problem?
my question:
What's the
Is
problem?
why is Coburger so important that they're paying creators off?
Good question. Good question. I mean, like I said the other night, the only thing he's worried about is his bananas being fresh.
Oh
You know
God,
what
the
I mean?
bananas,
He's
the
not worried
bananas.
about he's not worried about, like asking for
Coburger is in there in infamy, getting his rocks off, knowing that people are still out here fighting for him, and he's not fighting for himself.
but how are people fighting for him if the case is closed? Just
They're
because it's
fighting
all
for him because they honestly, and I do believe this, I do honestly believe this. I do believe that there are contrarian creators that try to look at things in a different way and say, but what if this could happen? You know what I'm saying? I do believe that. I believe that there are creators that do it just for the clicks and views. I believe that they do it just to keep their channel with the money raking in. But I
but at
do
what
think
point
that there are those creators that are fighting for that his rights were violated.
well what happens once nothing changes, okay? What I'm asking is, at one point, when is you don't have to ever change your format on your channel. You want to talk
I
about a
think
host
that'll
crime?
I think it'll change in August.
What happened in August?
And well, at first he had 45 days to do the appeal. Well, in August, that 45 days and 1 year will have gone by. And here's the thing that I don't understand is everybody wants to talk about, but his defense attorney is still on the case. You're absolutely 100% correct. She is still on his case. She is still getting paid. But here's the reason why. There's so many documents that are still unsealed. And
Right, and
she's
there's
having to
there's
go
gonna
through
be
those documents.
but there's gonna be a lot of document that we ain't gonna get to see, whether the gag order is lifted or not.
Right, but what I'm saying is she's still having to sift through all those court documents and say, okay, we can unseal this. The defense approves this. The defense disapproves this. You know, she's not doing that for free. So, of course,
Right.
she's still on the case. So, until all the documents are settled as this is going to stay sealed, this is going to be unsealed, this is all you get, it's over, it's done with, then she'll be off the case. The only reason she's still on there is because she's still having to spend her time going through court documents to approve or disapprove the unsealing or sealing.
Well, it seems like every case after Idaho has been met with scrutiny. Is that what true crime is on YouTube? Is scrutiny? Because I thought true crime on YouTube was about investigative part. I thought that's why I named my channel what I named it. Because I thought it was about investigating deeper than the surface, not to solve the crime, but to give the audience an understanding of how everything is formulating together to get to the solution.
There you go. You said it right there. And that's what I was trying to say earlier about why I respect your channel and the way that we do things is we don't base it on guilt or innocent. We don't base it on the perpetrator. We base it on giving information so you can form your own opinion.
But I think also it's human nature to want to invent scenarios in your brain to make it a little more exciting. Because there's a
Well, I
reason
mean,
why multitudes of people are watching various creators right now and they're not in here. Because
you
there's
know, we all have our opinions. And I'll tell anybody with the Idaho 4 case, the Koberger case, whatever you want to call it. It's the Idaho 4 because those are the four that matters. Okay?
mhm.
So, in my opinion, okay, it may be all about proving Koberger innocent or whatever to somebody else, but it is the Idaho 4. Those are the four victims. Okay? I don't care if Santa Claus elves went in there and did it. It's those four that matters. And the thing about it is, I don't think that, I think that there's so many people out there that once they base their opinion and they base their narrative on what they believe, they're not willing to back off that. So that's when they fight harder and they forget about the case and it becomes about them. It becomes about their ego. It becomes about them being right. It becomes about them proving what they think. And I'll tell anybody, all we have is assumptions, theories, narratives that we think in our heads. I could be 200% wrong. There's an innocent man that could be sitting in prison right now for life, and I could be completely wrong.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. And if he is
But there's
innocent,
no way for me to know.
we just know what we know. And if you really know the judicial system, the laws, and everything else, just because you believe he can do and snap his fingers and get out of prison, it doesn't work that way.
And see,
There's
that's
no,
another thing is I really
no
think they're hanging on to that. I really think that there are creators that are hanging on to the something's going to change. You know that there's going to be a big thing coming up to where he's going to put in for ineffective counsel or he's going to put in for what I don't even know what all of the things are that's being said. Oh, the Supreme Court is doing a case that Hunter versus something versus Hunter, to where they're saying that it's against your constitutional rights to sign
not be able
away
to.
the no
Yeah,
appeal thing. Well, here's the thing about it. By the time it gets to the Supreme Court, by the time the Supreme Court rules on that, okay, fine. We're going to say that the Supreme Court rules that it's against your rights to give away your right to appeal. It's just going to start from that day. It's not going to be retroactive. It's not going
unless
to affect Coburger.
unless they make it retroactive. You know what I mean?
But if they make it retroactive, do you know how many people are going to be like, oh, okay, well, I want to appeal? You
Right.
know, there's going to
But
be
yeah, yeah.
millions.
I mean, but you're right. It's not going to go into law until they sign it on that day and from that day on.
And that could be 20 years from now. Here's the thing about it is you have a man that has said guilty, 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 guilty. Okay? Let's do that again. Guilty, 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 guilty. Okay? And here's the thing. I'm coming to you as the prosecutor. Remember, the defense came to the prosecution. I'm coming to you and saying, hey, look, I want to live. So if you will take it off the table, guilty, 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 guilty. I don't want any appeals. I don't want anything else said about it. I'm done with it. And we're done.
Right, right,
Prosecution says, good deal. Let's go. That way the families don't have to go up against all those, you know, appeals and stuff like that, or any kind of fighting for him to be out on parole or fighting for him. It's done. The families can go on with their lives and everything else. And people are just like, nope, there's got to be a loophole. Got to be a loophole. Well, if there was a loophole, don't you think that so many other prisoners would have used that loophole?
Well, let's look at this, Nina. Other than the evidence that they collected, okay? If you wanted to reopen the case, the house is torn down. The crime scene is gone. You can't go back in there and test the walls or get any kind of new materials or whatever. Let's say you did do DNA extractions from the blood and all this other stuff. How are you going to point to other people without putting their DNA in sequence where it makes sense that they ultimately were the perpetrator? I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all. If he
No, if
wasn't the
he's innocent, I mean, I'll be
right.
the first one to say, if he's innocent, set him free.
And I've never said that before, but you know what? I'm not against anybody having a second chance. That's who I am. But to come at me with that mindset to say, well, you're a guilter because you stood firm on your belief all this time. That's unfair to a lot of people. I don't care what you think. But you know what? If this man is innocent, he does deserve to be free. But at the same point, all those agencies, they never looked into another person that even resembled a possible suspect long enough to say, okay, well, Koberger, we got Koberger, we got this, we got the DNA on the knife sheet, blah blah blah. But we also found a coat with this person's DNA who was on Maddie, who was on Kaylee, who was on Xana, who was on Ethan. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
There,
yeah, I
there
got
was
you.
nobody else that they spent any amount of time on, and there has to be a reason for that. I don't believe that it was incompetence. I believe that, you know what? Like I always say, the police investigate to a, what's the word? God, my brain's not
They
working.
investigate to clear somebody.
There you go. They investigate to clear, not to convict.
Right. But you see, it's so much easier. Okay, you explain this to me. How is it right? Okay, contrarian. To me, contrarian is you asking the questions and you questioning everything. Okay, I'm good with that. Okay,
I am too.
because I should be able to ask the questions and have those questions answered. Okay, but here's the thing about it is why is it that only the people that can ask the questions are the in quotation marks pro burgers? You know, the guilters in quotations, they have opinions too. Do you see what I'm saying? Maybe we're contrarian on the guilter side.
Well, it's a hard. I don't agree with division. I don't.
Right, exactly.
I
We're
don't
all
agree
wanting the
with
truth.
people. I don't agree with people siding up. I mean, I played sports. I was on one side. I fought for this team. I get the whole concept. But
Right,
at the end of the contest, we shook hands. We said, "Good fight. We'll see you next time. We'll see if we can beat you next time." It was
right.
never. I hate that team because of this, that, and the other. You know what I
Or the
mean?
guilters are morons. Or, why we got to be a moron just because we disagree?
I don't agree with name calling either. I mean, I've done it. I've done it. That's why I've changed the whole thing because you know what? I don't want that for my channel. I don't want
Right.
that for my channel. You know, I
But
don't
I mean,
want to
okay.
I don't want to get on here and have to battle every time I'm on live whether I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right,
Yeah,
or vice
because I could be totally 100% wrong.
like
Look,
you
how
said,
many? Okay, we've been knowing each other 2 years now,
at least, at least.
and yeah, at least. So within at least that time frame that I have always believed Xana was first.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I step off of that, does it mean I was stupid? No. Does it mean I did the wrong research? No. It means that I went and I listened to other people with an open mind, with openness of saying, okay, I'm wanting information, you know.
But at
And
the
I
same time,
realized that Xana couldn't be first, in my opinion, because the knife sheath was left upstairs. If Xana was first and she fought, the knife sheath would be in her room.
but what if you find out later on you were right? Is that going to change the fact that all the people that made fun of you and were contrarian towards you, are you going to go wave your finger and say, I told you I was right, you were wrong? I don't see you doing
No,
that.
well, I don't know. I might.
I hope you don't. I hope you don't because, you know, people talk about unity in the community. We need
No,
unity.
because there's a lot of things that I've been right on that I have yet to come out and say, "See, I told y'all. See, I told y'all." I mean,
I'm the,
just like the other night with the spare tire, I didn't come out and say, "Did anybody not notice that the spare tire's missing?" I mean,
well, you
or
know,
did anybody not notice the sound?
I've been right on some things as well.
Exactly. Or did y'all not notice that every time the car comes around the building, you hear the cocking of the gun because that's gravel underneath the tires? I mean, so, I
But
mean,
Nina, to be honest here, to be on an honest plane here, all that has nothing to do with the crime.
right,
Nothing at all.
right,
Whether gravel was heard, whether you heard somebody else by the name of Ethan or somebody that had a name of Haley, which could have sounded like Haley, you
right.
know,
Or Farley
Maddie,
and Charlie.
anything like that. But to not even give it credence, that you could be wrong.
Yes.
That
I
is
mean,
what makes,
you know that I've had this big thing for years because I have every deed and everything to all the houses around King Road. And I know that Eagle Investment bought the properties up and then they sold them to Cottonwood Development. And my thing has always been I am not saying that the college was involved in any of the murders, but I will tell you that there are people that definitely profited from the murders. Does that mean that I'm saying that they killed the people? No. I'm only making the statement that they took advantage of the situation.
well, my point of reference in talking about this all is not to say who's right, who's wrong, because that creates division. Some people like
Right.
division. They don't like to be, they don't like to follow rules. They want to be led by their own existence. That's understandable. We are all different. Who, like I've always said, I'm not the moral compass of YouTube, but there's so many other
Exactly.
people that feel that they
I
are the
tried to
moral.
be I tried to be the YouTube police and it didn't work out very well for me.
But think about the next big case. I'm talking about the next Idaho, the next big case that is going to take the world by storm. Are people going to go with pattern on what they've always done? Like with the Sebastian Rogers case, people armored up on both sides and started slinging dirt at each other. Is
Right.
that true
Yes,
crime?
that's the way it's going to be.
Because you know what? I don't want to be a part of that if that's what true crime really is on YouTube. Because to me, that is a waste of time.
That's the reason that I say we continue doing just like facts and data.
Well, I mean, we're talking honestly. This is not
Yeah,
about
but I mean, that's what I'm
watching
saying
a
though.
video. This is what a podcast is it's about talking honestly to your audience and not having to show them proof. Well, this is what I mean, or this is what I'm talking about. You know, Shannon Sharp has a podcast. It is called Nightcap. That's all they do is talk about the latest news. They don't ever show any clips. They don't ever do any of that. All they do is just talk. And for some people, that's enough. I don't want to sit there and go over somebody else's work.
Right.
That seems that seems like you're cheapening their original stuff, and I can see why people would get mad. You know,
But now, oh, see, that's where I could draw a line on some of that because when you come out victim blaming and you come out and you're totally just blaming the families, you know, don't
well,
get me
let me get
wrong.
hold on, hold that thought, hold that thought, hold that thought.
I
I'm
watch,
going to bring
I
you
watch
back
true.
to this. I'm going to bring you back to the Sebastian Rogers case, and it's going to be a simple question, whether you know the case or not. Do you believe that the mother had anything to do with his disappearance?
No,
Do you believe that the father had anything to do with his disappearance?
undecided.
I'm talking about the father actually taking him, abducting him, holding him somewhere. Do you believe that he's done this all these years? Because it's been
I
about
will.
2 years.
Okay, I will tell you that I was very in depth with the Sebastian Rogers case. Okay, I did as much research on it in the beginning as I did on Idaho 4.
That's
Um,
interesting to know. You didn't share a lot.
because at the time, nobody, I mean, the people that were doing Sebastian Rogers were over here. And this is what I don't understand is the people that were doing Sebastian Rogers was over here and the people doing Idaho 4 was over here. It's like they couldn't mix them. You know what I'm saying? And I did. I did so much research. I will tell you that here's what I find uncomfortable as far as the biological father, okay?
Okay.
Is one of his statements was that is that one of the first places that he questioned was the homeless camps in Tennessee. Okay? So I questioned that and I did my research and everything and I'm like, okay, the research that I found was that he had taught Sebastian, all this about that if you ever get lost, if you ever do this, if you ever do that, you go to a homeless camp and they will take care of a child. Okay. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay, what if, and I know people don't like that, what if, you know, but what if the biological father, because, Sebastian was autistic, he did listen to his father, was like, okay, look, at 5 a.m., you're going to leave your house. I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to take you to these people I know. Yes, it's a homeless camp, but don't be scared, you know, and dropped him off and left him, you know. So that was like the scenario that I was going to as far as the father being involved is maybe he took him to a homeless camp so he could come in and be the hero. You know what I'm saying? And find him and something went drastically wrong.
Well, let me give you a little bit of insight on something. Okay, nothing about the case, just
Okay.
on investigative procedure. There's nothing wrong with your thought pattern. Nothing wrong at it at all. I got my ass chewed out, kinda, on this. It's not what you know; it's what you can prove.
Right.
Okay, and that's what a lot of these cases. It's not what you know; it's what you can prove. Can you prove that in court? Is there evidence to support your statement? Because if there is, based on your research, you heard him say that, right? Or you
Yes.
saw it was
No, I
said.
heard it. I heard it.
Okay, you heard him say that. So,
Yes.
is that something that the police missed? Is it something that they didn't follow up on and didn't tell anybody? I mean, it's not what you know,
Oh
it's
no,
what
I
you.
mean,
And I'm
again
not
with the
talking
Sebastian.
about right. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying when it comes down to all these cases, it's not what we think we know, it's what we can prove in a court of law.
Right. But see, that's where I sort of, I guess, okay, I don't know how to say this because I know that you're not saying that I need to prove anything. But
No, I'm not. I'm not.
here's,
I'm just
here's, yeah,
I'm giving
exactly.
an
That's what I'm
example.
saying is that would be based on my opinion, based on my research. Now, am I saying the FBI missed it or the police missed it or the investigators missed it? No. I'm sure they have scoured every video he's ever done. They have scoured anything and everything. But when you've got someone that is missing at work for all those hours, that falls asleep in his car while the search for his son is going on and he's sleeping in his vehicle, to me, that doesn't sit well with me. That's just my
Right.
opinion.
Right, I get you.
Hang on.
So I totally agree with that. I mean, I didn't follow that case as much as I thought I should have. Sebastian Rogers is still missing, as far as I know. Nobody has really said anything on the true crime streets. Who did it? Why they did
Oh
it?
yeah,
Any,
he's
I-
definitely still missing.
do we know if he's alive? Do we know if he's trapped somewhere? Do we know if he's safe? I mean, there's a lot of people that have a lot of opinions about
Now,
that
I
case.
do know that
Hold on,
based
let me
on my
finish.
research.
Let me finish right quick.
Okay.
A lot of people have that, um, a lot of people believe that he could have been abducted. That's not improbable. It's really not. He could have been taken from the house by his father. You know what I mean?
But see, then, based on my research, you go to, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but did you know that 85% of minors that are, I'm going to say, abducted from strangers from their home is based on their gaming experience, and that 85% of them are autistic because they have such a way of doing the gaming and the computers and everything that they do that to get them to start hacking and stuff like that. 85% are autistic,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
you know.
I mean,
And I
see,
mean, I've
information like that is important.
right. And so then, I sort of went from the father because I knew from my research that Sebastian was a gamer, you know, because his daddy, when he was at his daddy's, his biological father's, he would go to work and let Sebastian play on his account. Okay. He didn't have like his own account at his daddy's, but he could play on his account. Well,
Okay.
that opens him up to all kinds of strangers. Okay.
Well, I mean, of course, of course.
And so then I did the research and found out that 85% of them are autistic because of their knowledge of computers and stuff, because I mean that's what they do, if you know and I'm like, okay, well, heck, I mean, and they use them for hacking. It could have been, hey, meet me
So he
outside.
would
I
have
mean,
been, so at this point, if he's still alive, he'd be what? 17,
he
18
would be
years
a
old?
hacker.
He'd
Oh
be
yeah.
17 or 18 years old?
Right. And I mean, I honestly believe that if he is still alive, because I do not, after all the research I've done, I do not believe that the biological father had anything to do with it. I think, just like I said with the college a few minutes ago, I think he took advantage of the situation.
Well, let me ask you a question, just to ask, all right?
Yeah.
Because you're good with the wittiness, all right? If he was still alive at this point, what would have kept him from reaching out to any family? Do you think he would be conditioned
Oh, I
enough?
think if he's still alive, he's in captivity.
But that's what I'm saying. What has kept him from reaching out to dad somehow? What has kept him from reaching out to mom? What has kept him from reaching out to Chris? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I don't believe he's alive. But if he is still alive, he's in captivity. But then you sit there and go, okay, if he's into hacking and everything, he should be able to figure out a way to contact somebody. So
Hmm.
you sort of get into that line of, okay, he's either smart enough to be a hacker and he's in captivity and he's hacking, or he's dead. But again, nobody knows because I wasn't there when he left. I
Right.
honestly believe that he left of his own free will to go meet somebody.
So, I mean, these type of questions are some of the questions that I think about, because I deal with juveniles, right? So when they run away, they do stay gone because we have family members that say, "Well, I can't find my kid. He ran away since you know last November or last January. Can't find him." Well, if a kid doesn't want to be found, they're not going to be found. You know they
And they will go through whatever because I'm going to tell you this. I got married when I was 16. It was not because I was pregnant or anything. It was because my parents did not approve of my relationship. And so I kept sneaking around, and obviously I wasn't good at it because I kept getting caught. So the last time I got caught, my daddy said, marry him or forget him. Heck, I was 16 years old. I, I got this down pat. I'm marrying the fool, you know? Well, after my third or fourth beating, I'm like, damn, I don't want to go back to my parents and say, I effed up. Can I come home? I just stopped telling them. You know what I'm saying? I started hiding it and stuff like that. Because at that point, you don't want the shame of I was wrong. I shouldn't have ran away. I shouldn't have married him. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. Can I come home?
Well, I hope that if Sebastian is alive, I hope one day he finds his way back to be able to give some kind of insight to whoever, whether it's his dad, whether it's his mom, whether it's Chris, whether it's his. I don't know if he had any other siblings, did he?
No.
Okay,
Now,
so,
Chris, okay, the biological mother and father only had Sebastian, but
okay,
Chris had a daughter from another marriage,
okay.
the
Well, I mean,
stepfather.
he surely knew people in that community, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's,
But
I don't
the
look
thing
at
of,
autistic people as being incapable of getting their needs met if they put their mind to it. I know plenty of
no,
autistic.
he was very high functioning.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Many people have painted him in the corner that if he did go missing or he was abducted, there's no way that he would be able to reach out for help. I don't believe that at
No,
all.
no,
I've
he
seen
was a
a lot of
very
high
high functioning teenager.
right. So, in that retrospect, I hope the best for that case, because just like Summer Wells, that is a sad case. I
That's
tried to
a
cover
very sad case.
I tried to cover that case so many times. I wanted to reopen it for my own mindset. I wanted to go back and I wanted to, but I kept thinking to myself, where you get to that dead end and you're like, my mind won't let me go any further because there's no clue. But then I don't have the time that a lot of people do. I hear your dog whimpering.
Yeah,
I don't have a lot of time that people do to, like you said, dive in and read and, dive and look up these things and whatever. What I know about Summer Wells, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, she went, her mama brought her home. Mama's in the backyard. She goes into the house with her brothers who are playing in the rooms or whatever. She goes off to get something, supposedly, and then mom comes to see what taking Summer so long, and bam, Summer's gone. And to this day,
that's their story, and they're sticking to it.
and that's another one that people sided on, right? Did
And
they not side on?
the other one is Delphi, the split in it.
Oh man, that one's a hard one too.
So, but if you'll notice, there's a split in all of them.
There is, there is.
I mean, I don't know of a case as far as true crime on social media, okay, that has not had that. He's innocent, he's guilty. She's innocent, she's guilty.
So, did you follow Kylie Rodney or whatever her name was? See, because I did
Don't
that
know
case.
anything about that case.
Well, what I know about that case, because I did probably 2 or 3 episodes, okay, is Kylie Rodney was out partying at this lake with a bunch of kids, right? They were all young. Somehow or another, she goes off with somebody. Next thing you know, she's missing. Her car's missing. They find her car in the middle of the lake, like it rolled into the lake. But this the suspicious part about it was the front window was down and she was found in the back with the windows up. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, see,
maybe
that's one case that,
somebody drove the car into the lake,
right.
swam out the driver's window, and she was found in the back, deceased.
Now, I do know that there's a case that I did the research, and the only reason I knew about it was I was doing research on Kaylee's smartwatch,
Okay,
and
well,
there
see,
was
see
a
here, y'all.
no. I'm not going back to Idaho 4.
Okay,
I'm
go ahead.
saying there was a case that she was. Dang, this was a recent one too. Who was it? She was jogging, and the guy got her while she was jogging, and they
Lake and
actually put it
Riley.
all together from the information from her smartwatch.
Lake and Riley.
That's it.
Okay, Lake and yeah, she did have her smartwatch on because she
And
was
I get
driving. She
her
was
and the
out
Kylie
driving.
Rodney. I get those two mixed up.
Yeah, Lakin was attacked on a running trail. It was I get the schools mixed up. I think it was Duke, somewhere around there, Indiana, somewhere in that area. Well, Lakin was abducted by an illegal national, and she actually fought him, and she was able to call 911, but she wasn't able to speak because he was attacking her. And they found all that information. They actually found her because of her smartwatch. You're right.
Right. And so the only reason I knew about that case was because of the Idaho 4, because I know that Kaylee had a smartwatch. And I was researching the information that could be found on a smartwatch, because come to find out, if she had her smartwatch on, it would tell everybody the exact time that her heart quit beating.
Of course, because those things monitor your heartbeat.
Right.
They
So then
monitor.
that led me to another case where the next door neighbor killed his neighbor, and that's how he got caught, was because she had a smartwatch on and it told her exact time of death, and that actually put him at her house delivering some kind of package or something. So I mean, when you do the research, you can find out things about other cases. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily. I mean, you can definitely go down rabbit holes, because I went down that. What'd you say her name was? Lakin.
Lake O'Reilly, yeah.
Yeah, I went down that rabbit hole, and the Idaho 4 led me down the Angie Rogers uh, rabbit hole of Chris Tapp being convicted and spending 20 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, and IGG being that. As a matter of fact, IGG, that was the first time that IGG was used to exonerate somebody.
Right. I mean, that's what's awesome is you can deep dive like that and learn so much about current cases that you're interested in. I don't have anything bad about Idaho. I don't have anything bad about any of the creators. Everybody has their own niche. Everybody has the ability to tell their story. You know what I mean?
You know
And
what's
that
sad
even
though is the Idaho 4 takes over so much on true crime
hmm
that, okay, Chris Tapp, I just mentioned that he was in prison for 20 years. Okay, 20 years. He went to prison when he was 18 years old. He spent 20 years in prison. He got out. He got a lawsuit from the state of Idaho for $11 million. He bought his wife her dream Corvette. She got
Wow.
killed in that Corvette. She
Wow.
got killed in that Corvette. And then 5 years later, he gets killed in Las Vegas. How sad is it that really he had 5 years of his life to live as a free man?
It's kind of like Ronald Cotton, the guy that I did that I was trying to show, how eyewitness testimony is not always reliable.
Yes,
Ronald Cotton spent 10
the
years.
case that you share, the case that you share about the girl that thought the blood was vomit. You know,
Yeah,
but the thing about it is the Idaho 4 has such a hold on everybody that there are so many cases that's just getting
daily,
overlooked.
daily and weekly and hourly.
Yes.
You really are a true crime junkie. You just have to, you just click on anybody's YouTube or TikTok, and it's going to take you down so many rabbit holes. You're going to be like, wow,
You
I
know,
am
here
just, wow.
here's what's sad is I know that Dateline has celebrated like their 3,000th episode, okay? I can't find one I haven't seen, okay? So because when I go to bed at night, I go to bed with true crime. And that sounds really warped, but I mean that's what I relax to is
I went to
48
sleep.
hours.
I went to sleep.
Dateline.
I went to sleep with that episode you sent me about um that individual talking about Arctic the other night. You
Yeah,
sent me that.
exactly.
I
I
went
go to sleep
to
to
sleep
true
listening
crime.
to it. Yeah. I mean, the ID channel was popular for a reason. Forensic files, cold
Honey,
case,
I can't find the
all that,
forensics files at all that I haven't seen.
you know.
I mean,
But
it
they
starts
only gave
playing,
you,
and I'm
they
like,
only,
yeah, I think I heard that 10 years ago.
what's sad though? They only have an hour to solve the case. So there's so much skipped over that people think
Oh,
it's
yeah, yeah. But I mean,
normal.
that's where, I mean, okay, I get offended by people talking about the parents could be involved, okay? But what's one of the cases I listened to when I was going to sleep last night? This is going to blow your mind. Now, I do not know the names, okay? But I will tell you the case. Is his daughter is like 16, 17 years old. She's in a group home. He calls her and convinces her to sneak out of the group home and tell them that she's going to feed the horses some apples and to come and go off with him. This is her biological father, okay? I am in no way saying that the families are involved in Idaho 4. Let me just stress that,
Okay. Okay.
okay? But we have a father that's getting his daughter into the car, okay? He's given his confession and he's like, I get her in the car and she's like, can I sit in the front? And he's like, no, the front seat's too packed because he wanted her in the back, right? So they go down a deserted road. He gets in the car in the back seat with her, pours a bottle of wine down her till she passes out, rapes her so people will think that it's an attack, a rape attack,
Right.
and then kills her. And they say, how did you get her out of the car? He said, I drug her by her feet and put her on the side of the road so she'd be found. For what? $10,000 life insurance. So don't tell me that families are not involved because I hear it enough to know that they are.
Of
So
course. Of course.
I will never condemn somebody for questioning could the families be involved. But when you put stuff out there that's just a blatant lie, that's different.
Well, it's not what you think. It's not what you believe you know, for anybody that's listening, it's what you can prove in court. If you can prove it step by step in court, then you might have a case. But if it's just hearsay and circumstantial, you don't have a case. I mean, if you can't link everything together and prove your case with the scientific data and give examples on how this works, then it's just a story. Like you and I, we could think of a story on how the Idaho or Delphi or how even Casey Anthony, how all that could have been different, right? But
Now, I will admit, the Casey Anthony case, her defense was brilliant.
well, Jose
I
Baez is one
know,
of the best.
I know that she did it in my heart. Let me say that. But just to put that doubt that she climbed out, that she went out the door, climbed the steps, and she drowned in the pool, and they covered it up.
There you go.
Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah,
Because that the jury came back and was like, we don't know that she killed her. It could have been an
right.
accident. And I
And the
mean, there
same
were
thing with Jody.
riots.
I mean, the same thing with Jody Arias.
Oh, now
You
come
know,
on, Gage. Come on now. That bitch is guilty as sin.
hey, now you don't know that.
But I will say this, okay? He played the hell out of her, and I don't ever want to say that somebody deserves that kind of violence, but sometimes your
Oh,
actions can drive somebody to that kind of violence.
but think about this, okay? The camera somehow falls and captures a shot that shows that it's her. You know what I mean? So when people say, "Well, there's a perfect crime," there's there's so many little bitty mistakes that can be made. Like I was saying about Molly's dash cam, wouldn't it be something if she caught the front of the Elantra? I mean, I'm just going back to that case because it's easy to talk about. Just think if she caught a reflection. Let's say that people say she parked in the back of the house, okay? All right, she parked in the back of the house. Isn't that where Koberger parked? So wouldn't she have had more culpability to catch a reflection, to catch some kind of light or whatever, to collaborate the story that the investigators had about that white vehicle?
Well, that goes back to I mean, your Molly thing is just like um, the car got broke into in March of 2022 about the 1126 ring cam. You
Right,
know, what if there is a ring cam that shows him going into the house, that shows him coming out of the house, that shows him parking, that shows all the angles of the girls getting out of the car and the girls walking Murphy? What if there is, but like you said, all we have is speculation.
right. I like Jeff's statement right there. He said, but I believe Jodi Arias said in court that she slashed Travis's throat. Well, I believe that the defense was trying to prove that she was a was that she was a battered woman or
Yes, yes.
that
That
she was
she was
battered,
driven, that she was mentally driven.
right, because he had used her and not been honest. So she felt vindicated to kill him. I mean, crime of passion is a thing. It really is.
And I
You
mean,
know,
the
if
thing
you,
about it is, I don't know how much you followed that case, but
I
come on
just,
now.
I just watched the documentary on it. I
Okay,
didn't.
okay. Well, I'll be
Jeff
honest with
was
you. If
telling
you
me
do the
about it.
research,
Jeff was telling me about it, and I thought, well, I'm gonna go watch the documentary. That way I
If
kind
you
of,
do the research on the case, I mean, like with him being a Mormon and everything, he would let her know that she wasn't fit to be a Mormon. She was going to, like, change her life and become Mormon and stuff like that.
so we,
Well, then he breaks up with her, and he's got this nice little Mormon girl that he's dating, and all this. But then she was the mistress in the closet, the fat
okay.
girl that couldn't be
She
seen.
was the fat girl, right? She was the fat
Yeah,
girl.
she was the. So he would go and have all this kinky sex with her, even though he wasn't supposed to be having sex before marriage and everything, and he was still part of the community and accepted and everything, and she was the whore.
Wow. See, I didn't know all that. I just watched the
Yeah,
documentary. I didn't know all that. But and then
and
she
he
got
would
fed up
play
with
her.
it.
Yeah, I mean, he would like toss her to the curb and then bring her back. Toss her to the curb, bring her back. Toss her to the
Well,
curb,
that
bring her back.
that is emotional blackmail. That is
Exactly.
emotional blackmail. So I
And
mean
like I
that
said, I'm never victim blaming or saying that bastard deserved it or anything like that,
right.
because it was a very violent murder. But
Didn't she
when
kill
you
him while
get
he was in
pushed
the
to that
shower?
point, that you snap.
Didn't she kill
There's
him
a
while he
reason
was
there's a
in the
TV
shower?
show called Snapped.
Hey, she killed him while he was in the shower for the third time?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. And that's where the camera fell and snapped.
Yes.
That's why there's reasonable doubt because it's not what you think you know, it's what you can prove. Well, how
Right.
did your foot get on
But
how did your foot get on this camera image? Well, I'm
right.
not denying that I was in the in the bathroom, but does that ultimately mean that I killed him?
I mean, come on, this bitch is standing on her head during the interrogation. She's
I
singing.
did
I mean,
I did see that.
I mean,
Wow,
this bitch is crazy, okay?
I like talking other cases. I didn't know you were that informative about the
Oh,
Jody
honey,
Arias case.
bring up another case. The only one I didn't know about was Kylie Rodney.
Yeah, Jeff said that Arias case was very compelling to him. I mean, I saw the interrogation. She was doing handstands and all that. She thought she was going to get away with it. And I lost Nina. She got booted. I hope her phone didn't die. But for those of you that have watched that case, I know it's an older case, but you know, if you watch this on replay, you're echoing.
Am I
Okay,
echoing?
you're better. You're better now. If you watch this on replay, let me know what you think about the Jodi Arias case. What do you think about the Casey Anthony case? Do you believe that Casey got away with murder? Do you believe that the Kylie Rodney case was solved correctly? Do you believe that Ellen Greenberg really killed herself? Or do you
No.
believe that her boyfriend killed her?
Her fiance killed her.
I have seen that, Jeff. That is a hell of a documentary right there. Did you watch that
And see, that's
documentary
just
with
like
that? Go ahead.
we were talking about the autistic, that, what's keeping him from reaching out or whatever, And oh my gosh. See, here's the problem with the cases. Now you tell me the names and I'll remember it. So I'll tell you the case that I'm going to tell you about. So the case that I'm telling you about is a little boy goes missing. Okay? He's got a brother and everybody at home. Well, the
Okay.
brother grows up and the older brother is like he's in Washington at Yosemite and all that, staying doing maintenance and stuff at a motel. Well, the brother gets found after like oh god, it's like 6 or 8 years afterwards. Okay, and he gets found and he's getting all this notoriety and everything because he's been held captive, and the only reason he got caught was he outgrew his captive. his captor,
Oh
and so he
wow.
needed a younger person. So
Yeah.
anyway, they both get rescued. They go home. He does all his famous and stuff, and the other one ends up being a serial killer in Yosemite.
Wow. You know that case that Jeff just talked about? I was
Which one?
fascinated. The dude robbed the bank, right, with a harness around his neck. Well,
Oh my gosh, yes. And he
if
gets
he
blown
tried
up.
to, yes, if he tried to escape, the harness is going to blow his head off.
Yes.
Well, he only had so much time to rob this bank. That case is so freaking wild. If you
That's
haven't,
the two pizza that's the pizza people, right?
yeah, they
Yeah,
took
okay.
him, they took him to this abandoned radio tower area
Yes. Yes.
and strapped the harness around his neck.
Yep.
And they gave him the instruction, we're going to drop you off at this bank. You need to go and rob it. Meet us at this
And the only
place.
way they could get it off was to cut his head off.
Well, they were going to take the harness off once he gave them the
Yeah.
money. But the cops were chasing him and they cornered him. And he's telling them, hey, they're going to blow me up. They're going to blow me up.
Right.
And they thought he was part of the robbery. And ultimately, what do you think happens?
Uh-huh. Okay, well, piggybacking off that one, there's a case where they were going. The first part of it was they got a lady and her daughter. They strapped dynamite to them and everything and made her rob her own bank. Okay.
Wow.
Then they go and do a guy and his mother, and they make him rob his own bank. Okay. They get caught on the streets of Tennessee and and everything. But anyway, they finally get caught, but none of the dynamite was real or anything. It was all fake. And the woman and the guy was actually almost prosecuted for robbing their own banks until they did the investigation and realized that, I mean, they really thought they were strapped to dynamite.
Right, right. That is crazy, huh? I mean, in in hearing about cases like that, we can see why people question so much. No doubt why people question certain things because who would strap dynamite to themselves to rob their own bank?
Right,
You get what I'm saying? I get that.
right.
But on the other side of the coin, you cannot dismiss the possibility of the weirdness and the extremes that people will go for money. I
Yeah,
mean, Raising Arizona, even though that was a movie, look at the extremes they went for that baby. You know what I mean?
right.
That opening music just gets me every time. That yodeling.
Dang, my big ass dog was whining like a baby and now she's sound asleep.
She was whining. I could hear her whining.
And she was like, Mama, when we going to bed?
Right. Your
She
dog's
laid
like,
down beside me and she's laying here
yeah,
beside me sound asleep.
your dog's like, we're usually asleep by this time. Why are you still up talking?
I just
Are
looked
you
over and she's on my pillow sound asleep.
are you dashing tomorrow?
I dash 7 days a week.
I think I'm gonna dash a little bit in the morning. I was
I'm
gonna do.
definitely dashing Sunday. It's $4 extra a delivery.
That's awesome that they do that over there. I think it's just $1 over here, but I was gonna do Spark. But listen to this. They kept sending me this notification for a bulky item,
Right.
and you had to go to an apartment to deliver it. It
Was it
had three.
tires?
I don't know. I didn't take it. So when it says 3 stops, it means
Right.
one stop is to the Walmart, the other stop is to the location. What's the third stop?
Okay, the first stop is getting to Walmart.
Okay.
The second stop is the delivery, so I don't know the third one.
See, I was just like, no, I'm not taking this. I'll be going up 3 flights of stairs with 3 bags
Man,
of
when
junk
me and
food. No.
before me and Marty started off, we were doing Spark and we were doing the batch orders. We would have 20 something orders in the back of our, because they'd be just like one bag a piece, you know. But you could do like a 20 thing, a batch order of 20 orders and get paid like 50 something dollars, you know. But
Right.
man, it would wear my ass out because we would take turns getting out and getting them to the door, getting them out, you know, and you have to scan every one of them. You have to, and finally we worked out a system that we would put them in like the order they were going. You know, we got a bucket and we'd put them in the order. But those batch orders, and see, the thing about it is a lot of their incentives don't count batch orders.
Right. Jeff was asking about the second customer. I'm good with DoorDash with the second customer, even the third customer. I'm not confident enough to get 3 different orders at Walmart because, it just, you don't know what you're going in for. I mean, you could be going in for, how I went for a bicycle one day, a baby booster seat another day. I mean, you could go in for a carton of milk.
One day I didn't go with Marty, and she calls me and she says, "Of all the days you don't go with me," and I get 8 cases of the 40 count water. I was like, "What?"
You think people
She
order
had
that
eight
40 count?
cases. She got to the delivery, and luckily it was at a car lot, and they came out with hand trucks and unloaded it.
You think people order that 40 count on purpose? Who needs that big ass thing all at once? Come on, get you a
It's the
5
price
count.
difference. If you're
Get
if
you
you're gonna
get
get
you a
32,
5.
you may as well. Isn't it
No.
funny how much lighter the 32 is than the 40?
Yes, the 40 is bulky
Yeah,
and it's pulling
exactly.
out everywhere. I mean, the no. If
I
you're
got
gonna give
DoorDash.
me
I
much
got
order,
sent, and
get
in
the
Oklahoma City, I had to pick up a radiator for
what?
DoorDash. For DoorDash in Oklahoma City, it tells me to go to something something radiator, and I'm like, I'm picking up a radiator, and I'm like, oh my god, this thing's gonna weigh a ton. Luckily, I was in the van, so I knew it was gonna fit. You know, honey, I go in there, that thing didn't weigh nothing. They're made out of plastic now.
You know, I went to a hardware store and I picked up a pipe fitting, delivered it probably 3 blocks for a seven
Well, I
dollar
go to
tip.
Dollar General and pick up 3 pregnancy tests, and I'm like, why you need 3 pregnancy tests?
I've done the same thing. They ordered like 4 of them, like just to be sure,
I'm
and
like, damn.
2 Dr. Peppers. Yeah, you're like you're gonna celebrate. You're gonna cry in your Dr. Pepper. One of
I mean, I'm like, okay, if you're worried that many times about being pregnant, you might want to put an aspirin between your knees and hold it there.
I was waiting for the pregnancy test and the Plan B.
Now, I'll never forget, I got paid $7 to deliver a Diet Coke.
I delivered a sweet tea for about $9.
Yeah. I'm like,
That's how
man, that's people that's got
that's
more
how
money than
serious.
me.
Yeah, that's how serious people are. I mean, usually they're at work, they can't leave, and they want it. There's no price they won't pay for it. I
And what's
delivered
funny is,
some lashes from Dollar General for $5.
yeah, and some of those Dollar General orders, I'm like, man, y'all are just ordering to be ordering, okay? I mean, and then the other day, I ended up with like, let's say I had to get a Snickers, some Nerds, some Honey Buns, 3 Monsters, and 3 Red Bulls. I said, man, somebody has got the munchies.
I think that too. I got a bag of munchies. I um Gatorade and something. I was
Yeah.
like, they got the munchies. It was some kind of
Yeah.
candy. They
They
always
got the
want that.
munchies and they're dehydrated.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, whatever floats your boat, I'm just like, whatever. But it's interesting. It's interesting trying to piece those stories together, You're
I
just like,
know. I know.
it makes the delivery
Oh,
just a little bit.
you know the one that I told you about the other day where she complained that it didn't have the receipt and that two of her conies was missing? She obviously filled out a complaint about it. I got a message from DoorDash today saying that they had taken that off of my customer rating because it was out of my control. I was like, "You
You
bitch!
know,
I should have spit in your coney."
Nina, you know, I went to a store and I got tampons, chocolate, and something else. I get up there to, use the red card. The lady's like, "Bad day."
Now, see, Jeff made me think of something because he was talking about being after the winter with the inner tubes. I do not think that it's fair that we get penalized if the item is unavailable or out of stock or something like that. That can cause you to lose your pro shopper. And I'm like, I can't help what these people's got.
I've gotten to the point where if they don't have a substitution, I give them the next.
Refund.
No, I give them the next value. Like, if they want the name brand, I give them the Walmart brand, or I give them the
Well,
generic.
see, on DoorDash, you can't do that.
I do it.
How do you do that? Because when it comes up, I have to
Where it
get
says,
approval for
where
the
it says,
substitution, but see, even at
where it says
that
item.
affects,
I-
but that affects your items found number.
No, like I show the empty area.
Right.
There's no substitution, so I send them that picture, and if they don't respond, I just grab the other and make my own substitution, take a picture, scan it, and go and check out.
Jeff said he's going to clip it where you said you got chocolate and tampons.
Oh, come on, Jeff. Come on, Jeff. You can't laugh at that. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Chocolate
Oh
and
my gosh.
tampons. That's what that lady said. She's like, rough day. I was like, well, if you only knew. This is the cultivation of a rough day right here. And my girlfriend's having a rough night. I got her the chocolates, and she said I better not come home without the tampons. You know. I've
Oh
really
my
enjoyed it
gosh.
tonight, Nina. I've really enjoyed it tonight. Those
I did
people
too.
that
I like it this way. It's just free flowing and I like that.
were watching, I hope that you get to the point one day where you can come into the chat and interact. If you can't, well, that's fine. I'm glad that you were here listening to our stories. But definitely one day we need to cover that bank robbery with the dude and the harness. I thought I did it.
Okay, now the dude in the harness, doesn't that go back to another guy and a woman?
I think it does. I think it does.
And the woman, come to find out, is like very diabolical.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a documentary about her.
I think so too. I think you're right. You know what that
Yeah.
reminds me of? Those two bank robbers that robbed that bank in LA and they had all that body armor and stuff on them.
Yeah. The
That's
the name of it, there's actually a movie and it's called like 28 minutes or something like that.
you know what that was the first time that I got interested in true crime.
Do
When
you
I
know how
saw
long I've been interested in true crime?
No Telling.
My first book was Helter Skelter.
Y'all heard it here first on 12 Gauge Investigative.
My very first, I've read every Anne Rule book. I've read every Joe McGinnis book. I mean, I have been into true crime since I was probably 13 years old.
You know, I reached out to some people. I'm going to close it with this. I reached out to some people on TikTok that are famous through the high profile case Idaho 4. I hope they reach out. If you are watching this, I hope that you like the podcast format, and I hope that you do come on here to not necessarily relive the tragedy, but to just give some insight on how your life has changed after the tragedy. Um,
Those left behind.
yeah. So hopefully they will come on. And if you're watching, if you want me or if you want myself and Nina to cover a case, put it in the comments. I would definitely look into it. I'm
Oh
not the re-
yeah, I love
I'm not
that.
the
I love
research
that.
I'm not the researcher type, so I might have to pass it along to Nina or Jeff or whoever. But you know what? If you want a case talked about and you want to discuss a case other than Idaho, put it in the link or put it down below. Comment because you know what this
Especially
case.
if it, especially if it's a recent case, because, like you said, Gage, there's cases daily that are getting overlooked.
There was a body found. I don't know if you went east on 20 ever, but do you know where Abilene is?
Yeah.
I saw this earlier and I was going to talk about it. There was a body found by the railroad tracks. It didn't look like the body got hit by the train. It looked like it was just dumped by the railroad tracks. And that reminded me of that railroad killer. I don't know if you've ever heard of him,
Yes, they got
but
him. They got him coming in from Mexico.
right, he used to go along and ride
You didn't know
railroad.
I knew so much, did you?
I had no clue. He used to ride railroad, or he used to ride trains and
Yep.
break into people's houses that were adjacent to the railroad track, kill them,
Yep. Yep.
eat their food, and then hop on a train and be gone, and nobody was the wiser. I mean, there's a lot of cases that if you look into them, you'd be, I mean, if you're really fascinated by true crime, there's so much out there where it's just not about commentary, it's actually understanding the case because that dude had some severe issues. I mean, who would have ever thought, well, I'm going to go cross country, ride a railroad or ride a train, get off and kill somebody and get something to eat and then hop back on the train.
As a
Simple.
matter of fact, that case right there, one of the most heart wrenching interviews I ever watched was a girl and her boyfriend was just walking along the tracks,
That's
and he
yes,
kills the boyfriend, and they did an interview with her, and it was so heart wrenching because she had to watch it and she survived it.
yes. He thought she was dead because she played dead.
Right.
I mean, so many cases. It's terrifying. I mean,
Well,
if
see,
you
it's really funny because, of course, if I hadn't have got married when I was 16 years old and detoured my life in the direction, I actually wanted to be a prison psychologist.
well, I wanted to be a profiler. I just couldn't
My dream
afford
was
the
to
other.
be a prison psychologist, and I wanted to interview Charles Manson and Ted Bundy.
All right, Clarice. You know where the best forensic school was in Alabama, and I couldn't afford the out of state tuition at that. It would
Right.
but I wanted to be a profiler so bad right out of high school.
Well, I got a scholarship to go. Now, look, I quit high school and I got a scholarship. You believe that? But anyway, so how that happens is my daddy worked at the Gulf State Steel, and they had a woman that would come and do like classes and stuff to help them progress up the ladder at the Gulf States, And
Right.
so he joined it and was like, "Look, she does GED classes too." And so we started going together and everything, and I went and took my GED test. And next thing I know, my daddy's dropped out of the class, and I'm getting a scholarship to go to college at Gadsden State because I scored so high on my GED. And so what do? I go into nursing.
Well,
I
Nina,
like three
I've
months.
been,
I like
I've been,
3 months graduating nursing, and I'm like, I don't want anybody like me taking care of my family. I mean, they're like doing catheters, and I'm like, when's the next smoke break? I mean,
I don't think so. No, you guys,
but I
if
did.
you
I wanted to be a prison psychiatrist because I want to know why they do it.
see, I wanted to chase the one doing it. I wanted to
Yeah,
profile.
well, you can chase them. Just let me talk to them so I can know why.
I didn't ever want to know why. I wanted to catch them. You know,
But you don't ever wonder why. What what makes them be like they are?
I've I've seen enough um interviews with the big ones. You know, the big heavy hitters that
Yeah.
they don't give you the truth anyways. You know, they
But
just give.
what made Israel Keys?
I don't think we'll ever know. John Wayne
What
Gacy.
made John Wayne what made John Wayne Gacy? What made Jeffrey Dahmer? What made
You know,
Ted Bundy?
I don't think we'll ever know. We could speculate. We could, scientifically probably get close, but I don't believe anybody would ever know how somebody ticks that internally because it's
I wanted
there's
to be a Dr. Ramsland.
put the puppy in the basket. You know, like
Put the puppy in the basket. I'm
well,
closing on I'm closing on that one. That was a great one.
thank you so much, Nina. And if you haven't checked out Nina's channel, it's warning labeled Nina. Go check out her channel, give her a chance,
Because you
and
never know what's coming out of my mouth.
yeah, go hit a like, subscribe, and share. Do the same thing, not because you like us, but because you like the conversational value and the topics that we cover on this channel. Nina as a guest, Jeff as a guest. You don't have to like us. You just, but just like what we talked about, you can respect our insight. Don't have to agree with it. Just give us a chance. I guess I'm asking for. Y'all have a good night. Have a good weekend. Be safe out there, and hope to see you again soon. Nina, take care and go cuddle with that doggy.
I'm gonna watch True Crime.
All right, go check out some cases. Let me know what you're watching. All right,
See you later, Jeff.
see you later, Nina. Be safe. All right, interesting night. When you don't have a direction, you just go just about anywhere, and that's what we did tonight. I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much, everyone. Maestro, hit that music. And like I said before, hit that like button, subscribe, and share. If you're watching this from my Facebook channel, thank you so much for coming over and giving the channel a chance. Till next time, be safe out there.